On day 8 of the Derek Chauvin murder trial, focus turned to George Floyd's drug use and the thing that happened after he died, particularly when it came to collecting evidence. Forensic investigators who processed the car Floyd was riding in on the day that he died and the squad car officers tried to put him in say they found blood and drugs. The defense argues drug use and a heart condition caused the 46-year-old's death. CBS News correspondent Jamie Yukas is in Minneapolis with the latest.
Tonight, prosecutors tried to deflate the defense's argument that George Floyd's drug use caused his death. The defense played video of Floyd resisting police for James Ryerson, the lead investigator in the case.
Did you hear that?
Yes, I did.
Did it appear that Mr. Floyd said, "I ate too many drugs"?
Yes, it did.
But prosecutors replayed the video from an earlier point, saying it's open to interpretation.
Having heard it in context, you're able to tell what Mr. Floyd is saying there? Yes, I believe Mr. Floyd was saying, "I ain't do no drugs."
The drugs in Floyd's system and what he possessed go to the heart of the defense's argument that opioid drugs and underlying health conditions led to his death, not Derek Chauvin's knee. Floyd's autopsy revealed multiple drugs in his system, including fentanyl. CBS News legal expert and analyst Ricky Kleeman.
Is it smart for the prosecution to get ahead of this and try to deflate the defense's argument?
If the prosecution looks like it's hiding something, the jury will hold that against the prosecutor.
Another struggle for prosecutors today, trying to explain why a pill with Floyd's DNA sat unexamined in the back of the police cruiser for about 6 months. Mackenzie Anderson was the lead crime scene investigator.
I obtained a single source male DNA profile that matches George Floyd.
Another hit for the prosecution will come when the defense presents the jury with a 2019 arrest of George Floyd. It's similar to the one that led to his death a year later. It began with a traffic stop, and while in custody, Floyd told officers that he had swallowed several tablets of Percocet. He was then taken to the hospital. Lana?
Jamie, thank you. For more on this, I'm joined now by Jessica Levinson. Jessica is a CBS News legal contributor and professor at Loyola Law School. Jessica, the forensic scientist who processed evidence from the day that George Floyd was killed, said she found Floyd's blood in the back seat of the squad car that officers tried putting him in. What do you make of this piece of evidence?
Well, we don't know yet. So this could be, I heard Ricky Kleeman just saying that the prosecution is doing a really good job of getting ahead of bad facts. It could be the prosecution trying to lay out all the facts that are helpful both for their side and that the jurors will hear in the defense's case, because that will allow the jurors to trust the prosecution. So what could the blood potentially show? And let me just say, at this point, this is speculation. The prosecution could be arguing, look, this was excessive force from top to bottom. Officer Chauvin was using excessive force in the beginning of the encounter, so much so that George Floyd was actually bleeding when he first got into that squad car. So even before you saw the video, excessive force was being used. The defense could say that actually, in this case, it shows that George Floyd was acting in an irrational manner, maybe thrashing around, and that Officer Chauvin had to use this level of force, which might later have looked excessive because you, jury, didn't get to see everything that happened leading up to this. In fact, there was, problems getting George Floyd into the police car in the first place. So we don't know which side is going to try and use this for their advantage. But we do know that the prosecution did not complete the loop for the jury in terms of here's why it matters to you. And we do know that the prosecution is doing a good job, again, of getting all of the facts out, not just the facts that are helpful for their case.
Well, Jessica, we also know that the defense argues that drug use and a heart condition was ultimately responsible for Floyd's death. And on Wednesday, we heard a chemist say that pills found in the car that George Floyd was riding in tested positive for methamphetamines and fentanyl. What impact could this testimony have on both sides of this case?
I think exactly what you said, which is that the defense is going to continue to make a big deal in cross-examination and perhaps when they put on their case of the idea that there, in fact, were drugs found in George Floyd's system, that he was taking drugs, and that this was the substantial cause of his death. Even the defense is going to try to make the argument, even though we know what you saw on that video, even though, yes, at the beginning of that video, George Floyd was alive. At the end of the video, George Floyd was dead. What happened during that video, it was Officer Chauvin's knee on his neck, that he would not have died were it not for his pre-existing conditions and were it not for the drug use. And that's why I think finding the pills really is going to play into the defense's case. Again, the defense just has to convince one juror, are you really sure that beyond a reasonable doubt that Officer Chauvin used excessive force given all the circumstances and that his knee was in fact the substantial cause of George Floyd's death, even given, and this is why we're going to hear a lot of medical testimony and testimony about, again, the pills and how that can affect your system.
And Jessica, several times now, we've seen the defense play those short video clips showing Chauvin's knee on Floyd's shoulders. What does the defense hope to accomplish, and are there any risks with this strategy?
Absolutely. It is potentially a risky strategy. I suspect that what the defense is trying to do is desensitize the jurors to that video, to seeing that image, because it is so deeply impactful, because the jurors have heard so much testimony that, frankly, on a human level is just really wrenching, particularly in the first few days of the trial. This is something that we saw happen, I believe, in the case against the officers who were accused of beating Rodney King a number of decades ago, where the defense showed the video clips, showed the still images a number of times, very specifically, very deliberately throughout the trial, I think to try and lessen the impact for the jury. Now, could it backfire, you ask me? Absolutely, because you're just showing the jury that image over and over again. So it's not clear that that would be compelling for the jurors in terms of the defense's case.
And when we pair that, Jessica, with the several police officers and experts that we've heard from that have agreed that Chauvin's use of force was excessive, even deadly, and that he and the other officers should have rendered medical aid to Floyd, I'm wondering, are those failures enough to convict Chauvin on the second or third degree murder charges?
Yes, I think that's what this case boils down to. Did Officer Chauvin use excessive force? Was that excessive force the substantial cause of George Floyd's death? And can we prove this beyond a reasonable doubt? If you can show Chauvin, in fact, did transgress the boundaries of what was permissible, which was that really impactful testimony we've heard over the last few days where the thin blue line, so to speak, was broken. And Officer Chauvin's former boss was saying, no, this is not an appropriate use of force. If we can show that that use of force was the cause, that Officer Chauvin had, in fact, a legal duty to provide aid, not just stop using excessive force, but in fact, the affirmative duty to provide aid, that he didn't do so, that was a substantial cause, that's really game over in this particular trial.
All right, Jessica Levinson, thank you.
Thank you.